Hi students. So let's see the next phylum, that is the phylum Chordata in the Animal Kingdom series. Now, this is a channel which gives you the complete information about the NCERT NEET preparation for zoology. Please join the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description. The Telegram channel has a daily practice papers in the concerned topics. Do follow and prepare for your NEET examination. So let's see with the phylum Chordata. The early series has covered all the non-chordates starting from the phylum Porifera to Hemichordata. So in this series, I will go with the phylum Chordata. What is chordata? Chorda is a rod-like structure. Eta is bearing. So those animals which have a rod-like, a string-like structure are called as the chordates. All the chordates have the fundamental characteristics like a notochord present on the dorsal side, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits on either side of the pharynx. So these are the basic characteristics you can see in a chordate. Other than that, they have a post-anal tail, that is, the tail is present after the anal region. And the other common characteristics as the other non-chordates are they have organ system level of organization, all are bilaterally symmetrical, they are triploblastic in nature, all are coelomates, and these generally have a closed type of circulatory system. So here you can see a typical chordate, and this chordate has a dorsal rod-like structure called as the notochord. It has a hollow tubular structure called as the nerve cord. The pharyngeal gill slits are present on the sides of the pharyngeal region, and you can say a post-anal tail. So these are those chordate characters by which we can identify the chordates. The other structures what we have seen is organ system level of organization, bilateral symmetry, triploblastic in nature, as usual coelomates, and they have a closed circulation. Let's quickly see the difference between the chordates and the non-chordates. We'll see some basic structures like the notochord, the nervous system, the pharyngeal gill slits, the position of heart, and the position of the tail. In the chordates, the notochord is present, whereas it is absent in the non-chordates. The nervous system is hollow and it is dorsally present and also single in the case of the chordates, whereas the non-chordates have a double ventral nerve cord. In the chordates, the pharyngeal gill slits are present. On either side of the pharynx, you can see the gill slits are present, which help in the respiration. These structures are absent in the non-chordates. Heart is present on the ventral side in the chordates, whereas heart is present in the dorsal side in the case of non-chordates. In most of the cases, the heart is absent. The tail in the case of the chordates is post-anal, that is after the anus, whereas in the non-chordates, a post-anal tail is generally absent. So these are the basic differences between the chordates and the non-chordates. So this is about phylum Chordata. We'll continue about the classification of the phylum Chordata. Let's continue with the phylum Chordata. We can divide phylum Chordata into three subphyla. Subphylum Urochordata, subphylum Cephalochordata, and the subphylum Vertebrata. The Urochordata is also called as Tunicata. In this phylum, the Urochordata and the Cephalochordata subphyla are together called as protochordates, as these are the first form chordates. So these two, that is Urochordata and Cephalochordata, are called as the protochordates. Now let's see the common characteristics of the protochordates. These are exclusively marine in nature. They are seen only in the sea region. The name Urochordata suggests that the notochord is present only in the tail region, that too in the larva. So notochord only in the tail, thus the name Uro, and chorda, that is the notochord. So as the notochord is present only in the larval tail, they are called as the urochordates. Then what are cephalochordates? As the name says, cephalo is the head region. So as the notochord extends up to the head region, thus the name called as the cephalochordates. So in the cephalochordates, the notochord is present from head to tail, and this is persistent. The notochord is persistent, that is, it is present throughout the life. Whereas in the urochordates, it is seen only in the larva. So let's see the common examples of the protochordates. In the urochordata, the common examples are Acidia, Salpa, and Doliolum. So common examples, Acidia, Salpa, and Doliolum. In the cephalochordates, the most common example is Branchiostoma. Branchiostoma is also called as Amphioxus. It is also commonly called as lancelet. So revising the phylum Chordata, the phylum Chordata has three subphyla, and these three subphyla are Urochordata, also called as Tunicata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Both Urochordata and Cephalochordata are together called as protochordates, as these are the first form chordates. All the protochordates are marine. Urochordata, the word says that the notochord is present only in the larval tail, whereas Cephalochordata, the word says that the notochord extends from head, cephalic, to tail, and this notochord is persistent throughout the life. The common examples for Urochordata, Acidia, Salpa, Doliolum, and for Cephalochordata, Branchiostoma. Now let's see about the third subphyla called as the vertebrata. Now why are these called as vertebrates? In these animals, the notochord is replaced by the structure called as vertebral column, either completely or partially. This vertebral column can be cartilaginous, as in the embryos or in the case of the sharks, or this can be bony, as in the remaining forms. So as these animals have a cartilaginous or a bony vertebral column, we call them as the vertebrates. So I can say from the table that all the vertebrates, listen carefully, it is called as all the vertebrates are chordates, whereas all the chordates are not vertebrates. I think it's clear. We can say that all the vertebrates are chordates because they belong to phylum Chordata. But all chordates are not vertebrates because the chordates also include Urochordata and Cephalochordata. Right? I think it is clear. It can be said that all the vertebrates are chordates, but all the chordates are not vertebrates. Right? What are the other common structures in the case of the vertebrates? The vertebrates also have a muscular ventral heart, and this is generally two-chambered, three-chambered, or in the case of birds and mammals, it is four-chambered. For excretion, specialized structures called as kidneys are present. Vertebrates have one more special property called as the paired appendages. The fins, the legs, the hands, all are paired. So the fins and the limbs, these are the paired structures. So we have the paired appendageal structures. So this is about subphylum Vertebrata. Now what are vertebrates? So vertebrates are those in which the notochord is replaced by vertebral column, either completely or partially. This vertebral column is either made up of cartilage or bones. So we can say that all the vertebrates are chordates, but all the chordates are not vertebrates. The other common structures are they have a muscular ventral heart which has 2, 3 or 4 chambers. Excretion is basically by kidneys and appendages are paired in the case of the vertebrates. So let's continue with the classification of the subphylum Vertebrata. The vertebrates are those in which the notochord is replaced by the vertebral column. And we can divide the vertebrata into two divisions, that is Agnatha, that is jawless vertebrates which lack jaws, and Gnathostomata which have jaws. Under the Agnatha or the jawless vertebrates, we have a single class, and this is called as class Cyclostomata. Whereas in the gnathostomes, that is the jawed vertebrates, we have two superclasses. The fishes called as spices and the remaining which have limbs, legs, are called as tetrapods. The fishes are grouped into chondrichthyes, cartilage fishes, and osteichthyes, bony fishes. The tetrapods are amphibia, reptilia, aves, and mammals. Let's see one by one of these classes. Let's start with the first class, that is class Cyclostomata. Now what is cyclo? Cyclo is circular, stoma is mouth. So these have a circular mouth and this mouth is generally used for sucking. As these are used for sucking, these are basically ectoparasites. They attach to the body of the larger fishes like the sharks and they suck the blood. So this is a typical cyclostome with a circular mouth and a long body. The cyclostome belongs to Agnatha, that is, the jaws are absent, so these are jawless vertebrates. The body is smooth, that is, the scales are absent. Also, the paired fins are absent in the cyclostomes. So on the body, only the unpaired fins are present. All the paired fins are absent. In the cyclostomes, the cranium as well as the vertebral column are generally made up of cartilage. So they have a cartilaginous endoskeleton. On either side of the pharynx, you can see the gill slits are present. There are 6 pairs to 15 pairs of the gill slits which help in the respiration process. Circulation is closed type as other vertebrates. A special property is seen in the cyclostome. These cyclostomes are marine, but when they have to lay the eggs, that is the spawning process, they need rivers. So they will migrate to the fresh water for the reproduction process. But this type of migration is called as anadromous migration. Ana means up. So as they go up into the river, this is called as the anadromous migration. So during reproduction, for spawning or for laying the eggs, they have to migrate to the rivers. This is called as the anadromous migration. After laying the eggs, the adult will die and the larva will come back to the ocean. So remaining life they present in the ocean. The most common examples of cyclostome are petromyzon. It is also commonly called as lamprey, and mixin. Mixin is commonly called as the hagfish. So common examples are petromyzon or lamprey and mixin, also called as hagfish. So let's quickly revise cyclostomata. So we have seen that the subphylum Vertebrata has Agnatha, that is the jawless vertebrates, and Gnathostomata, the jawed vertebrates. Under Anatha, we have class Cyclostomata. Cyclostomes are jawless vertebrates. Cyclo means they have the circular mouth used for sucking. So these are basically ectoparasites on the body of the fishes. Body is smooth, scales are absent, paired fins are also absent. You can see a circular mouth and you can see the unpaired fins. The cranium and the vertebral column is made up of cartilage. As usual, they have closed type of circulation. 6 to 15 pairs of gills will help in the respiration process present on the sides of the pharynx. Animals are marine, but for the spawning process, they will migrate to the river. This is called as anadromous migration. The adults die and the larvae turn back to the ocean after metamorphosis. The most common examples in this class are Petromyzon lamprey and mixin hagfish. So let's continue with the next division, the Gnathostomata. So let's continue with the classification of subphylum Vertebrata. So if you remember, we have discussed about Anatha or Trachlostomes already. Now let's see something about the Gnathostomes. What are Gnathostomes? Gnathostomes means jawed vertebrates. So here we have the proper jaws. So jaws, teeth structures, these are present in these type of animals. So Gnatha is jaw, stoma is mouth. So we have the jawed vertebrates. Under Gnathostomata, we have superclass Pisces or fishes and tetrapoda. Let's see about the fishes, that is convictes and osteichthyes. So why they are called as fishes? Because they bear fins. So those are present in the water and those who have fins are called as the fishes. So in the fishes, there are two classes now. That is class convictes and class osteichthyes. Let's see them in the form of differences. So now we have two classes. Class convictes and class osteichthyes. We'll discuss about these classes in the form of differences. First, I'll take about convictes. Now, what is chondrichthyes? Chondrichthyes, chondrine is cartilage, ichthyes is fishes. So, these are cartilaginous fishes, that is, the endoskeleton is made up of cartilage. The common type of fishes in these are, hope you can understand, these are the sharks. So, common type of fishes are the sharks. So, these are basically marine in nature, seen in the sea waters. All the fishes are cold-blooded. So all the fishes are cold-blooded in nature. That is, these are poikilotherms. They cannot maintain constant body temperature. One more character in the convictes is the notochord is persistent. Even though they have cartilaginous endoskeleton, but they have a persistent notochord. Let's see the characters. You can see the mouth is present on the ventral side. A wide opening of the mouth is present. This is on the ventral side in the case of the sharks. The skin is covered by placoid scales. These placoid scales are small plate-like scales and this makes the skin rough. But these are not completely visible. There are basically 5 to 7 pairs of gills, and these gills you can see in the diagram are clearly visible in the pharynx. So these gills are not covered by the operculum. So operculum plate-like covering is absent in the case of the convictes. Teeth are also made up of the same placoid scales. So placoid scales are modified into the teeth and these are generally directed backwards. A special character in the case of the sharks is the air bladder or the swim bladder is absent, because of which they don't have buoyancy and they have to keep on swimming so that they can maintain the balance in the water. So this swimming process will help them from the sinking. The common character is heart is T-chambered and this heart has one atria and one ventricle. In the male sharks, near the pelvic fin, they have a structure called as the clasper, and these claspers are used for the copulation process. The fertilization is internal in the case of sharks, and these are viviparous in nature. That is, they directly give birth to the young ones. So let's compare these characters with the osteichthyes. So we have seen the chondrichthyes is cartilage fishes, so osteichthyes are osteobone, so bony fishes. That is, the endoskeleton is made up of bones. All the fishes, maybe the chondrichthyes or the osteichthyes, the body is streamlined. In all the fishes, you can see only the head and trunk is present, neck is absent. You can find these fishes, that is the bony fishes, in all type of waters, that is marine waters, fresh waters, brackish waters, in the well, and also in your aquarium. So these can be found in everywhere. All the fishes are cold-blooded, no changes in that. They are poikilotherm, they cannot maintain constant body temperature. How is the mouth? In the case of the chondrichthyes, how is the mouth? In the case of osteichthyes, the mouth is terminal at the tip. The skin is covered by scales except placoid. Different type of scales are present like ganoid scales, cycloid scales, ctenoid scales. Different type of scales are present except for the placoid scales. Number of gills, basically 4 pairs of gills are present in the osteichthyes, and these gills are covered by operculum. A special covering called as operculum is present which will cover the gills, as these gills are very filamentous thin. Air bladder. The air bladder is present in the bony fishes. As air bladder is present, this will provide the buoyancy. So they can remain in the water, stand still for some time. The common characters, again heart is two-chambered. Heart usually has one atria and one ventricle. The fertilization is external as claspers is absent. So bony fishes don't have any claspers, thus the fertilization is mostly external. So they lay the eggs and they fertilize in the water. These are mostly oviparous, that is egg laying. So let's see the characters of the chondrichthyes and osteichthyes. So chondrichthyes are cartilage fishes, whereas osteichthyes are bony fishes. Chondrichthyes are present only in the marine waters. Bony fishes are present in all type of waters. The common characters, both are cold-blooded, that is poikilotherms. In the chondrichthyes, like sharks, the mouth is present on the ventral side. In the osteichthyes, it is in the terminal region. The cartilage fishes, they have the placoid scales which makes the skin look very rough. These placoid scales are also modified into teeth, and these teeth are directed backward. Whereas in the case of the bony fishes, the skin is covered by ganoid, cycloid or ctenoid scales, except for the placoid. The cartilage fishes has 5 to 7 pairs of gills, but operculum covering is absent. Generally, osteichthyes has 4 pairs of gills and covered by the operculum. The air bladder or the swim bladder is absent in the chondrichthyes, so they have to keep on swimming so as to prevent from the sinking. As air bladder is present in the osteichthyes, they can maintain the buoyancy and remain still in the water for some time. The common character, heart is two-chambered in both type of the fishes. The chondrichthyes has claspers. The male, they have the claspers which help in internal fertilization and they directly give birth to the young ones. Whereas claspers are absent in the case of bony fishes, so fertilization is external and these are egg-laying or oviparous in nature. Besides this, there are some special characters seen in the chondrichthyes. In the chondrichthyes, there are some electrical organs. In fishes like torpedo, it's called as the electric ray. You can see below the eye, the muscles can produce the electrical current which help in capturing the prey. So special properties, the torpedo is called as the electric ray. There is another special character, that is the poison sting. The trigon is called as the stingray. The posterior part of this ray is having a powerful sting. Now this is called as the stingray. So these are the two special properties seen in the chondrichthyes. The electrical organs in torpedo and the sting in the case of trigon or the stingray. Let's see the common examples in both the classes. For chondrichthyes, the common examples are scoliodon, the dogfish, pristis, the sawfish, carcharodon, it is a white shark, the trigon, the stingray, and the torpedo, the electric ray. The common examples of osteichthyes are Exocetus, it is also called as the flying fish, Hippocampus, called as the seahorse. These are the marine fishes. Labio or Labio rohita, the rohu fish, Katla, the Katla fish, and Clarius, the magur. These are the freshwater fishes. The common fish in aquarium are the betta, called as the fighting fish, and Pterophyllum. Pterophyllum is also called as the angelfish. So common examples are for chondrichthyes, scoliodon, dogfish, pristis, sawfish, carcharodon, the white shark, trigon, stingray, torpedo, electric ray. Examples for osteichthyes, the marine forms Exocetus and Hippocampus, the freshwater forms like Labio, Katla, and Clarius, and the aquarium fishes like Betta and Pterophyllum. So this is about the fishes, chondrichthyes and osteichthyes. In the next series, we'll continue with the amphibia. Do join the Telegram channel for the daily practice papers.